Today's video is all about fall care for your butterfly bush. And right off the bat, I'll tell you, it doesn't involve pruning, because pruning your butterfly bush in the fall is the wrong time to do it. So that's a good thing, right? You can check that off your list. When is the right time? In the spring. How do you prune? There's a video at the end of this one where I'll show you everything you need to know, including up-close examples of exactly how to prune your butterfly bushes. But in the fall, you don't need to. I'm Laura. Welcome to Garden Sanity. And today I'm going to talk about how simple it is to care for your butterfly bush in the fall. And the only thing you really need to do, if you want to do it, is to deadhead. And what we're deadheading are these dried flower heads. Now there's two reasons to deadhead them if you want to. The first is kind of important depending on the cultivar or variety that you have of butterfly bush, also called Buddleia. And that is, if you have a cultivar that seeds, if it spreads seeds all over the place, well, you're not going to want all of these dried flower heads to drop their seeds. You're going to be picking up and pulling out a zillion seedlings in the springtime. And also birds can carry the seed. In some places, butterfly bush is invasive. So you just want to make sure if you have one of those older varieties, and maybe that's varieties that were kind of bred about 10, 15 years ago, those ones you're definitely going to want to deadhead. The second reason is purely for aesthetics. If you don't like the way the dried flowers look in the fall going into winter, you can simply take those off, and then as you see, all of this is still green, and depending on your climate, this is going to stay green. At least for me, here in Zone 7, Southern New Jersey, it stays green like this through most of the fall, really until we start getting freezes. So this will still look like a nice shrub if you want to do it that way and just deadhead. And the third reason that you want to deadhead is you may get another flush of blooms if you're in a warmer zone. Now I'm in Zone 7, Southern New Jersey. If you're south of me or you're in Zone 7 as well, we've had a really brutal hot summer. We're also scheduled to have a mild fall, just like we did last year, until we had that early frost in end of October. So by deadheading these, I'm definitely going to get another flush of blooms, and that's going to be great for the pollinators that haven't migrated yet. It's also going to be great for me because I'll get to enjoy more flowers with that beautiful honey-like scent. So let me show you up close and personal how I'm deadheading. So these are the true blue butterfly bushes. I have two of them. And as you'll see, this one's already deadheaded. I did this a few days ago. And I did this on purpose so that I'll be able to show you up close what to look for when you're deadheading. And then as we move over here, you see I've got a lot of, not that many, but I left enough to deadhead to show you today exactly where I'm making my cuts. What's great is since I've deadheaded, I already see I have a new bloom right in there, and I have a new little bloom right here, and I have a few other ones just starting to pop up. So just by pruning a couple days ago, I now have so many good examples, like this guy right here. So you can see, if you look at this, you can see where I made the cut right there. But look what you already see on this side. You see that? You're seeing new potential flower heads, and I don't even mean potential, they're flower heads. And then on this side, you see some more as well. In fact, one of them already has a little bit of a purple coloring on it. So look how nice that is. Now, if you didn't realize that, you might just let this whole thing have brown flower heads all over it, and you'll be like, the shrub's done. It's not. You're going to get a whole nother round of color on this. Now, I could have gone down if I wanted to go down even further. If I go down to the next section, there's some leaves there. And down further, let me see if I get in here. Not only are there some little leaves, but you see there's another guy there. So it's really easy in this case. If you're taking out the center one, you just look where there's a little bit of leaves, and before you know it, just a couple days, maybe a week later, you're going to start seeing new flowers growing on the flower heads. It really depends what kind of weather you have. I mean, if you're going to have hot and sunny days, it's going to happen rather quickly. If you have cooler weather, it might take a little bit longer. So again, same thing. I cut right here in the middle, right there where you can see it. And yes, I've got these here. Now, they weren't looking 100% great, and I wasn't sure if, they're already drying out or they're going to produce more flowers. However, I kept them just to see. But look at, here we go, look at this. Again, I've got more buds coming out lower. And if you keep going down the shrub, you'll see the same thing. So flowers are always going to come from new growth every year, but they will come if your plant is healthy enough, not just on the ends, but smaller ones will develop along the stem up and down. So what happens if you're cutting a stem and you don't see any other flowers? That's okay, because as long as you see leaves, no matter how tiny they are, they're going to sprout new stems and new flowers. All right, so now I'm going to show you a few examples with these guys. So let's look at this one right here. Now, on first glance, we see that, there is this guy. And you see, if you look closely, there's a bud and there's a little guy. You go down further, there's a little, right where my finger is, there's a little stem as well. And then you have this stem that's attached to it, and he's also basically done. But what you see again is you see, when I go in here closer, you see this little guy here, and you see this little guy here. So where I would make my cut is you can either cut this whole thing off down here, or if you want to give these two guys a chance, you can cut here. Either one's fine, or you could cut here and let those little stems go. What I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to cut it down here just for no reason other than that's what I feel like, because these flowers already look like they're developing well, and then I will cut this stem off here as well. So here's this stem, and like I mentioned, I could cut it right here where there's new growth here, or where the little leaves are, but in this case, I'm going to go down to just above that growth. And then there's another little flower coming out right here. So this other stem that's already dead, I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut that, whoops, right up here. Almost went too low. And then this stem now has a flower that's going to come right there. All right, so here's another one to get a good look at. And you see, all dead, but let's look again. You can just bend the stem a little bit. You see right where my finger's touching, there's a little one. Here's another one. So in this case, I'm going to cut it right above where those two flowers are. You see, there's the two flowers I showed you, and I'm going to cut it right here. So now we've got a stem, and pretty soon we'll have two new flowers coming right off that stem. So in most cases, you are always going to see a new flower showing up, or at the very least, new leaves. So always look for those. And then you can guarantee yourself you are going to have another flush of blooms, which is going to be so beautiful. Now, do you have to do this? Like I said at the beginning, you do not. You can just prune these off if you're done. If you're like, you know what, I'm done. I've had a long season. I've got a lot of other things to do. It's fall. I'm busy. That's fine. Don't feel guilty about it. But I just encourage you. And if you have a butterfly bush and you've had one for a long time, you already know this. It is so beautiful scent-wise, let alone the flowers. So this is a way to, again, help the pollinators and help yourself too. You get to enjoy more of the beautiful, beautiful flowers. No matter what size bush you have, no matter what color, and the pollinators will thank you too. So now the shrub looks so much better. It's ready for the fall season. It's going to get another flush of blooms. I'm going to be happy. The pollinators are going to be happy. Watch these two videos next. One is on pruning, like I mentioned in the beginning, how and when to do it, hint spring. And the other is deadheading throughout the summer season and what you can do to continually get more and more flowers. And if you have to deadhead on certain varieties. So watch both of those videos. And until next time, happy gardening.